All right, guys. So, welcome to our team call. Super excited for today's call because we have Jenn Richardson, which I'm sure you guys know who Jenn is. Her national wake up call that she did, where she talked about Instagram, and then I think it was on the Champions page. She has like an Instagram training. I don't know. They've been shared all over. We're like, oh my gosh, like just watch Jenn's video, watch Jenn's video. So to get to have her one-on-one on our team call is incredible. So just a few of her accolades. Jenn is a superstar diamond coach. She is about to be a 5-time elite coach, which is just insane. Success Club legend, and also in the Beachbody Millionaire Club. So Jenn has built an insane business. If you haven't checked her out on Instagram, make sure you go look at her account after this call and kind of merge that with what she's going to be teaching us. So I am going to turn it over to Jenn. If you guys have questions, use the chat box, and then at the end, if we have time, we'll open it up to some questions. So Jenn, we are so excited. Thank you so much for your time, and we will just let you hop in.
Thank you for having me. Can you guys hear me okay? I had a microphone that was attached to my computer and it's broken, so I have to, okay, we're good. So I wanted to kind of just talk to you guys about my backstory a little bit so you can understand my kind of infatuation with Instagram and why I love it so much. I started coaching in 2013, but I didn't really start coaching. I was kind of a discount coach. I had no desire to work the business at all. I was really leery of like the whole MLM thing. I was super worried what people are going to say about me or think. Like I went to college, I got my master's, I couldn't get a job. Super sad and disappointing, but I kind of just wasn't sure if I could jump in. You know what I mean? So what I did though is, and if you guys are, any of you are in a place of like part-time coach right now, or you're kind of the discount, maybe want to be part-time, just know that it's totally fine to be in that space. But if nothing else, share what you're doing. Like share your fitness journey, because that's what I did unintentionally, not even realizing it was going to turn into a business. So beginning of 2014, I was like, I'm going all in. I'm like, why am I sitting on the sidelines, like watching people do this when I could be doing it myself? And I jumped all in. So when we start coaching, what is like one of the first things we're told in our new coach training? It's to like form a dream team list, right? Like you're supposed to write a list of like potential people that you can invite to be part of your team. So I did that, and I went through my Facebook friends list because that's what I was told to do. I had probably like 120 people on my list. I sent out invites to everybody, and they all said no. I'm like not even kidding you guys. They all said no. Like they were all like, some were like, ew, no. And some were like, oh, that's cool, but like, no. And then others were like, I'm going to ignore you. And that answer is no. So I was like, wow, okay. So we're off to a great start here. Like a lot of no's. And I think as like a new coach coming in, you can look at that and be like, I suck. This isn't for me. I should probably just quit. But I'm one of those people, and I think you guys should all adapt this mentality if you don't have it. Prove them wrong. Like I was like, whatever, you all want to say no to me, I'm just gonna like really make this work, and then you're gonna regret saying no. So I kind of took their no's as like fuel that I'm gonna like make this happen. But since I only had Facebook and I had 120 something no's, I knew that sharing on Facebook was probably not going to get me coaches. So I said to myself, what else can I do differently? What are people not really doing, or what could I do differently? And at the time, Instagram was like a pretty small platform. It has nothing that it has now. So you guys, if you're just jumping into Instagram now, oh, you have like the world at your fingertips because you've got messaging options and cute filters and like hashtags and just all this great stuff. So anyway, I was like, I'm going to start using Instagram. And 2 reasons. One, I was like, I don't need to preach to people that already told me no. And I need to find a cold market. So for those of you who have a warm market and your warm market works, happy for you. Like, that is awesome. But you should still build your cold market anyways, because your warm market will dry out. For those of you who have no warm market like I did, there is hope. Okay, there is hope, because that's where I was. I had no warm market. The first thing that I started doing, and it holds true today, is you have to know who you're trying to talk to. So the biggest mistake I see with coaches when I look at their Instagrams or when I'm scrolling is I go to their page, and I'll just give you guys examples of like my new coaches that come in. So I have them do a color wheel exercise. Maybe I'll do that. And they show me their interests, and they're great. They fill out this color wheel, and I'm like, we've got lots of content to work with here. And then I go to their Instagram, and I'm like, where are these interests? I don't see them. That is so cool that you like XYZ, but I don't see you posting about it. All I see you posting about is 80-day obsession and a selfie with your shake, which is cool if you're trying to attract other Beachbody coaches, but not helpful if you're trying to attract people that aren't already a coach. So the first thing you really need to dial into is, who are you trying to attract, and kind of hone in on like a certain aspect of that category. So when I started, my kids were young, 2.5 months old and 20 months old. So they were little. So I really got into the niche of like mom, which a lot of you guys are moms. They see some babies on the call. But you have to be even deeper into that. You can't just go after moms, because there are so many different kinds of moms. What kind of mom are you? You know, and this is just an example for those non-moms. But what kind of mom are you? For me, I was really into baby wearing. I was into like making my homemade baby food like a complete psycho. I was like into that really crunchy mom, natural mommy kind of stuff. Those were the moms I went after. Because if I was going to go after the moms that were like, you know, I'm just going to buy the Gerber baby food, and here I am like brewing a pot of sweet potatoes on the stove, they're going to be like, this girl's insane. Like, I don't relate to her. Do you know what I mean? So you have to really dial into your niche to really make a connection with somebody. And that's like step number one. So whatever you have on your interest list, look at that interest and say, how can I dive even deeper into this? I have some coaches who are like, I love doing outdoorsy things. I love to hike. I love to be outdoors. And I'm like, okay, take that a step further. Where do you live? So if you like to hike and you're in Colorado, then you should be going after Colorado people. You should be going after that region, like dial deeper. Don't look at hiking as this general sense of this interest. Go even deeper. Search hashtags that pertain to, let me turn off my messenger because people are going to keep messaging me the whole time I'm talking to you guys. You go a little bit deeper, look into that area of people, search the hashtags that pertain to the region you're in. So I live in Florida, so I love the beach, I love outdoorsy things, but I gear towards people that live in Florida, people that are coastal living, people that can relate to the fact that like, that's the lifestyle I like. You guys will get so much further following people that feel like they can look at your page and immediately connect with you. Another thing that I do, so you've got your niche, you're diving into it, you're exploring this, visual, okay? So people are super visual, and when I go to a page, when I go to an Instagram, and I think it's human nature, we will look at a page and immediately decide, our brain will say, attracted to, not attracted to, just in like the first 10 seconds of looking. So what are you guys attracted to when you go to a page? For me, I like bright, clear, colorful pictures. That's what I'm attracted to. You might not be attracted to that, and that's okay. Do you like dark, muted tones? Maybe you're more attracted to, like, I've seen some people doing like the filters, the presets that have like the kind of orangey, pinkish tones. Ask yourself when you're scrolling, what makes you stop? Because if we're trying to attract the people that you're attracted to are most likely going to be attracted back to you, and those are the people you want to look for. So I generally am looking for those kinds of people. Now let's talk hashtags, because I know we wanted to talk about growth, Instagram growth in general, how to find followers. I have done so many methods over the years, and this is something that is going to constantly change. I'll tell you guys right now. As soon as you think you have figured it out, you will not figure it out anymore. Like, they will change it. So you just have to be really flexible and be ready to adapt to the change. So the way I did it, 4 years ago when I was growing is not the way I do it now. In fact, The way I'm doing it now is not the way I was doing it 6 months ago. So it's just always changing. For a while, I was talking about using a lot of hashtags on your posts that pertain to the picture. You don't want to use hashtags that do not pertain to the post at all. So if the picture is of you at the park with your kids, don't say dog mom because you don't have your dog there. It doesn't make sense. You always want it to make sense to the picture. Now, hashtags on your posts. For a while, we wanted 25, 30 hashtags in the comment section of a post. You don't want that anymore. You don't need it anymore. Instagram goes back and forth if they even allow you to put hashtags in your comments, which is super annoying and frustrating. But what I've learned from this is not to depend on the hashtags on my posts. I put a couple good ones. And you guys, the hashtags you put on your posts, your whole purpose of doing that is really to show up on the Explore page. You guys know what the Explore page is? Like when you open up your Instagram, it kind of shows you some pictures of accounts that Instagram thinks you would like. That's your goal with your hashtags now. For a while, I think the goal was to like show up when people would go to a certain hashtag and they would scroll through hashtags and they would see your picture. But let's be honest, how many people are doing that? Like, unless you're a network marketer, unless you're doing it for business purposes, like how many people are scrolling hashtags to like find people to follow? They're probably not, right? So your hashtags you're using, you want to use them to try to show up on the Explore page. So you want to use hashtags that have around, let's say 50,000 is like a good number, 50,000 or less. If you're using a hashtag that has 5 million other people using that hashtag, your picture has the likelihood of showing up on the Explore page like 1% chance. It's like super low. But if you are using a hashtag that, a funny one that I use from time to time is bun game strong, because my bun, not many people use it. So I will show up on the top of the Explore page for that hashtag. For other people to talk about their messy bun or their top knot, it's like Instagram knows what you're trying to say, and so they try to promote your post based on what you're talking about. Does that make sense? So your goal is really to try to show up on the Explore page. It's not for other people to find you based on the hashtag you're using. Now, hashtags are still super important for you to find people to follow. So I do this 2 separate ways. So one way, I go to, which you guys have probably heard me talk about it, displaypurposes.com is the website I use to generate hashtags. Some of them are crap hashtags. I'll be real. Like some of them they give you, I'm like, these are awful. But you need to go through them. You need to look through them, see what kind of people are using them. Do they make sense for your target market? Are a lot of people using them? Too many? Too little? You can really get like 10 for each interest and be good for a couple months. You want to constantly switch them up. So that's what I do. That's one way that I find people. And I do this every single day. And this is how I grew my business. I did it all myself until recently I started using a service, which in some ways it's been good. In some ways it's been a complete headache. So I actually recommend to you guys, if you have the time, give yourself at least an hour a day just dedicating to growing your Instagram following. If you can give yourself an hour. In the beginning stages, I did it while I was nursing. I did it while my kid was, eating snacks in their high chair. As they got older, I put Play-Doh out and let them play. There's pockets in the day where you can give yourself an hour. If you can't do an hour consecutively, do 15-minute blocks. But just tell yourself you're going to give yourself an hour a day to do this. So I'll go through those hashtags that I've picked out, and I will follow people that 10 seconds. Give yourself 10 seconds to decide if you like them or not. We don't have to be, it's not judgy. It's just go with your natural instincts of what your brain is telling you. Because what I hear from a lot of my new coaches is they're like, I don't know how you do 50 to 100 follows in an hour. I do maybe 10. I go to their profile, I read their profile, I look at their pictures, I comment. I'm like, no, this hour that you're doing for your Instagram Power Hour, this is just follows, okay? This is just follows. If you happen to follow another coach, no big deal. Sometimes coaches are even better for engagement because we get what we're trying to do here, and Instagram's whole deal is engagement. The first hour your post goes up, guys, you want to have as much engagement on that post as possible because that's how Instagram ranks your post. So don't worry if you're following other coaches. Don't try to, recruit them. But it's not a big deal if you're following them. So I try to do 50 to 100 follows in an hour during my Instagram power hour. And I just look at I scroll through like the hashtag list and like bright, colorful picture, cute girl, has kids, follow, follow, follow. Don't let yourself overthink it or you won't be as productive as you could be. Here's the other thing I do. And honestly, I do this even more than I do the hashtags simply because it's easier, okay? I find some big bloggers in my niche markets and I go to their page. Make sure that they are not, first of all, do not do this with Beachbody coaches. Please, like do not do it with coaches. In fact, like I kind of try to steer away from anyone that's super fitness related. You are most likely not going to convert an NASM fitness instructor that has 200,000 followers. Just a waste of time. They're probably good with what they're doing. Just don't. But look at these big accounts and look at who is commenting on their posts. Look through all their comments. Some of these accounts have like 1 million followers and they're on their posts, they get like hundreds of comments. So I sit there and I go through them and I follow all the people that are commenting on their posts. Because number one, it's part of my niche. This person, this blogger, this, public figure on Instagram is a target market for me. And the people commenting are active Instagrammers, which is what I want. I don't want to follow people that haven't posted in like 6 months and they just kind of troll Instagram to like watch people. I want to follow people that are like actively participating in Instagram. So if they're commenting on this person's post, chances are they'll probably comment on mine if they are attracted to me. And it's so much easier to do it that way, in my opinion, than the hashtags. Because most likely if this person is following this person and taking the time to comment, you're in their niche, And remember, these are just follows, okay? These are just follows. This is a way to grow. So I would tell you, if you're being aggressive and you want to see you want to see substantial growth in your business, do at least 100 follows a day. And it sounds like a lot, but it's really not once you start doing it. And break it up if you have to break it up, but try to go for 100 a day. If you're like, I'm in this I don't have a lot of time, I work full time, or I don't have that much time to dedicate, pick your number. But whatever number you pick, make sure you stick with it. Put it on your computer, set an alarm on your phone, but dedicate yourself to that number that you have told yourself is doable for yourself. Emily Favre did this call, and I was listening to it the other day, and I had my coaches listen to it, where she was saying that she was wanting to start pushing for Success Club. And she was like, well, I think I'm going to push for SC20. And then Ashley is her coach and was like, why not push for 100? I've never hit Success Club 100 in my life, probably never will, but that's okay, because what bad will come of setting a huge goal for yourself? Nothing. Even if you don't hit that goal, even if I hit SC20 when my goal was 100, who complains about SC20? Nobody. It's good, So if you tell yourself, I'm going to follow 100 people a day, and then you only do 75, that's still pretty awesome. So I would say set a bigger goal for yourself, reach for that goal, push for that goal, but, push. Don't just say 20. Because if you follow 20, you might not get anyone to follow you back. And that's the reality. Even me, I have 46,000 followers. I follow people that don't follow me back. They're just I'm not going to follow her back. It happens. So the more people you follow, the more people will follow you back. It's all a numbers game. Our business is such a numbers game. Okay, so that is basically my follow process. And then unfollows, what I was doing on my own, I have an app cleaner for Instagram, cleaner for IG, and on Sundays, every other Sunday, I would unfollow all the people who didn't follow me back. So I only unfollow the people that weren't following me. I use a service right now. They're called Jumper. Some of you guys might have heard of them. They're going through a weird phase right now. I can't say they're the best customer service, hands down. They're amazing. I can't say that I recommend them at this current moment, because I'm being real with you. It's kind of a little all over the place. It's a lot of money too. You can do it on your own, 100%. So don't stress about using a service. The service I am using though, it unfollows everybody that hasn't followed me back. It just immediately, it within the 24 hours, I want to say, which doesn't give them a ton of time to follow, but anyway, so it's kind of better doing it yourself, because then you can control when you're doing your unfollows. Not everyone logs in every day. So, if you're giving them a week or 2 weeks to follow you back, then you have maybe more of a chance of a follow back. So just disclaimer, putting that out there. Now, as far as transitioning that from Instagram growth to like recruiting, they're two separate beasts. And I think you guys should know that. Growing your Instagram and recruiting are two separate things. So number one, you want to focus on growth, because the wider the net you cast, the more fish you bring in, right? But that process has nothing to do with me recruiting. So the recruiting process I do, me personally, I pick 10 people a month that I am going to recruit. Now, depending on your goals, you might want to have more than that. So my coaches that are like, well, I'm a 1-star right now, or I'm a diamond right now, I really want to be 5-star elite 2019. What do I need to do? And I'm like, you need to probably have like 30 people a month that you're trying to recruit, because more people, more chance of a yes. When I was in build phase, I was probably taking on 25 coaches a month. I knew that was a sacrifice for me and for time, and I needed to do it to get where I am. I needed to go through that phase. 5.5 years in, I'm not in that same place. And so I take about 10 coaches a month. And so I can kind of do less with numbers. So again, this is so personalized to you guys and what your goals are. And if you don't want to be a 5-star elite, that's totally fine. Maybe you just want to be diamond, or maybe you're looking for income, but income, you got to recruit. You got to get new coaches in there in order to see that money. Know your goal though. Know your goal, and that's how much time and effort you have to put in to make that goal happen. So I pick 10 girls a month, and I get them from my hashtags and or from bloggers and blogger comments. So that 1 hour power hour you guys are doing follows, do not look at those people as you're going to, that's not recruiting time, okay? Separate time, give yourself another hour in the day if you have it, or however much you can block out. I would do at least an hour for this and at least an hour for this. And I go back through the hashtags, go back through the bloggers, and this is where I'm really looking at profiles. So you're gonna go slower here, because now you're looking, do I immediately click with this person? For me, guys, I wanna sign a coach that I would go out to coffee with, that I would like hang out with in person, that I want to get on the phone with and talk to her, because I think the longevity of that relationship is going to be better. I never wanna sign a coach that's gonna turn around in 2 months and be like, not only do I not like you, but I don't like coaching. Like, I want to have like that relationship at the get-go. And I feel like that makes a better coach and makes a better relationship. It'll be a more successful business arrangement for both of you. So this is where I kind of take the time to really look at these accounts and these people. I look at their pictures, and then I'm like, okay. So I do this in the first week of the month. I usually do it within 2 days, and I get my list of 10. The first 2 weeks of the month, I spend grooming them. They don't know they're being groomed, but I watch their IG stories every day, and I comment back to their IG stories. I make sure to pop it on their social media every day. I like their posts. I comment about their posts. Nothing beachbody, just regular conversation, okay? Now, after the 2 weeks, and if, I will say and if, because not all the relationships progress. Sometimes I'm following these girls and I'm commenting on their stories and they never write me back. Well, they're going to go off my list, because if they're not even writing me back to me just talking to them, likelihood of me sending an invite and them being receptive is not good. And that's going to happen sometimes. So I do that. I kind of just talk with them, regular conversation. And remember, guys, you don't need to have a script or a template or anything here, because these are people that you would be friends with in real life. Like, these are people that if you weren't a coach and you were just trying to meet Instagram friends, you would be following these people and you would be conversing with them. So conversations should be really easy and flow really nicely. Now, I do not like to beat around the bush with my invite, because I think people can smell it from a mile away when you're like, hey girl, so what's up? Like, hi, just been following you. They feel it, they see it, they know it, and then they feel like, oh gosh, the only reason she's been talking to me for the past 2 weeks is because of this. So instead of like that awkward, like trying to find the segue into the invite, I'm like, look, you are adorable. First of all, everyone likes to be complimented. If you don't like to be complimented, you're lying. Okay, everyone likes to be complimented. I love when someone tries to recruit me. Sometimes coaches even try to recruit me, and I'm flattered. Thank you. But I'm like, I don't mind it. Like, if you're coming at me the right way, I'm not going to be annoyed with you. I might tell you no, obviously, but I'm not going to be annoyed. So I start off with a compliment. I'm like, listen, you're adorable. I just love following you. And this is genuine. Do not tell this to someone if you don't believe it. You have to really like them to say this. And you should only be recruiting them if you like them. And I will send you guys my script if you want to. I could post it in the chat. But I kind of tweak it to the girl, but I'm like, I just love your vibe. I've loved following you. I've loved chatting with you. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't know if you get what I do or what my job is, but I'm a lifestyle coach with Beachbody. I've been doing it for 5.5 years. I have a team. I think you'd be amazing on it. The way you post on social media, the way you share your journey, the way you're so authentic and genuine, I just think you would really be great. And if you are not interested, that is fine, but I like legit had to ask you. Now, would any of you guys be offended if I messaged you that? Like, would that annoy you or bother you? No. Even if your answer is like, no, like I'm not really interested. And people tell me they're not interested, but they write me back and they're like, thank you so much, like, for considering me or thinking that, but I'm just like not really interested right now. And that's okay. But I almost always get a response back from them, whether it's no, not right now, or yes, like send me more info. And I will tell you guys this too, okay? I have gone through a phase in my business where I totally stopped sending these invites. And it was the slowest year of my business. My income went down. Everything kind of went down for me. I just thought I could depend on posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook, posting on my Instagram stories, and people would just come to me. And they would just be like, Jen, I want to join your team. Like, how do I sign up? And like, that might have happened for like 1 or 2 people, but really guys, like the numbers went super down. So I will tell you this, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Holly has this happen. But I don't have people that just like bust down my door wanting to join me. I have to send invites. So whatever stage of your business that you're at, you can't tell yourself like, I'm not going to do these invites anymore. Like we all have to do them, even though it kind of makes us scared. And 5.5 years in, it still makes me nervous, you know, because you're putting yourself out there. Nobody likes rejection. But I think if you do the invite in the right way, people are not going to be annoyed with you, and they're not going to feel like you're gross, and they're not going to feel like, oh, she's so salesy, she's so spammy, oh my gosh. They're just going to be flattered that you invited them, and that's it. Now, I have a video that I send, and I really recommend, if you guys have not made a video yet, to do it. And I will tell you, I was like the most terrified public speaker when I started coaching. I remember Brandy Botts, she's my upline, she was like, I want you to make a video about, I forget what it was about, but she was like, I want you to make a video. And I'm like what? Like a video? Like a way to talk like to video camera? She's like, yeah. You guys, I wrote out a paper. Like I wrote what I was saying and I stuck it to my computer and I literally read the paper off my screen. And I'm like still like shaking, like, oh my gosh. And I rewatched that video now and I'm like, that was terrible. But that was my start. So you guys, like some people are naturally born speakers and they're just really good at it. And other people, it takes us a long time to get there. So if you're one of those people, it's totally fine because you will get there. I remember my friend Lauren Majewski, she was like, it'll get easier every time you do it. And I'm like, shut up, you're lying. Like, just stop. I don't even believe you. Like, it's not, I would do team calls and I would have to like drink wine beforehand and I would still be like shaking before I started. But like 5.5 years in, like, how am I talking to you guys? And I'm totally fine. So if it is intimidating to make that video, just know it gets easier. It really, truly does. I'm not just saying that. But make a video that you can send your potentials because they want to see your face. They want to hear your voice and they want to have it coming from you. They want to hear you. Like I tell my coaches, you can send my video all day long. I don't know if it's going to make them want to sign up with you, if it's going to make them want to sign up with me. So show your face, show your voice, send that. So I send a video, and then for people that don't like watching videos, because you have to know there's some people out there that are just, they don't like watching videos, they would rather read something. I put together, I'm trying to like scroll through my notes on my computer so I can send it to you guys so you can see it. But I do a PDF that's a 1-pager for the people that like don't want to get a lot of information, they want it all condensed in 1 page. And then I have a longer PDF that is like a whole what is coaching guide. It basically took my Glimpse group and I put it into a PDF. So for those people that are like, don't want to wait for a Glimpse group, give me the info now, let me stew on it, let me show my skeptical husband because that's a story for another day, but mine was so against me doing Beachbody. And I sent all of this information to them. And I'm like, if you're interested, let's chat. So let me send you, I'm going to put this in the chat so you guys have it. That is my video, my one pager, and my guide. And I send that to them. This is kind of my little script that I send. I tweak it though. You want to tweak it. This is just my general message that I start off with. This is my invite that I send. And you want to be able to invite them to something. So when I do my invites, I plan it around when my glimpse group is happening. And I change the theme of my glimpse group every month to try to make it like different and kind of a little exciting. So last month we did a wine night and pajama party. So everyone we invited had to wear their jammies. I wore my jam. My coaches did not wear their jammies. I was the only one. My coaches presenting did not wear their jammies. They all had their makeup on, and I'm like in my jammies, and I'm like, you guys did not follow the rules. But the girls in our group did. They did wear their jammies. They were taking pictures of their wine glass with the fuzzy slippers on. It was fun. It was cute. It was successful. It was a good group. And it was easy to invite to because people like themed things. This week, we're doing a coffee date. And it's on Friday. It's going to be 11 in the morning, and we're going to like, everyone's going to have their coffee, and we're going to do it like that. So plan your invites just in case you send them this video and you send them the guide, but like they want more. Plan your invites around when you can invite them to a group. Now, being that I do a lot of this on Instagram, there's gonna be people that are like, I don't have a Facebook. Like, what do I do? Like, how do I participate in your group? What I usually tell them is I'm like, listen, if you don't want to work your business on Facebook, I 100% support that, but make a Facebook so you can access our groups and participate in our groups. So I have a lot of girls who make like dummy Facebook accounts where it's like they don't plan to actually use that. They just have it so they can access our pages and be part of our trainings. I have many girls that do not use Facebook at all to run their business. They exclusively run their business on Instagram, and they're very successful. So but I do like them to have Facebook just so they can get in. For the glimpse group, if they don't want to make a Facebook for that, they have all the information in those other 3 guides. That's enough for them to like make their decision. So that is my process in a nutshell, guys. As far as challengers, I don't recruit challengers. I feel like if I do a good enough job of like showing my workouts, I'm in the Transform 20 test groups. I've been sharing like moves of the day. I talk about what I'm eating. I show Shakeology all the time. I try to do one like legit hard call to action a week, whether it's about joining a challenge group or whether it's a coaching call to action. I personally do them in my stories. I will say this to you guys, and I tell this to my coaches too, so I say this with love. Do not hide behind your stories. If you're only getting 25 or 50 views, or maybe 100 views in your stories, you want to make sure you're doing like a legit post on your Instagram or on your Facebook and the invite so people can see it. I know that stories feels a little bit less daunting because you're like, oh, it goes away in 24 hours. Like nobody likes it. That's okay. But you know, if you're not getting a lot of views, you want to make sure you're doing it in a place where people can see it. So I feel like if I put enough out there and people know what I do and they know that they're seeing my physical results, they're seeing how I'm feeling, and I do a call to action, they usually come to that. Coaching is different because I think people have, like, for example, I never would have reached out to my coach had she not invited me. It's just not my personality to be like, hey, can I join you? You know, like I want someone to invite me to join them. And she did. So just keep that in mind. I think the fitness thing, I think people are more likely to be like, you know what, I really need to lose 5 pounds. Like, what do I need to do? Than being like, can I be on your team? Like, would I, you know, because people, they're afraid of rejection too. So think about that when you're sending your invites. Like that person really might want to join you, but they're nervous that you won't want them to be on your team, that they're not good enough to be on your fitness team. So I think that's everything. I think I touched on everything I wanted to touch on. Do you guys have questions?
That was amazing. Thank you. Yeah, guys, feel free to ask questions, but I mean, Jen, you did an amazing job covering from, okay, so how are we growing our following? How are we finding these people through, all right, here's how I'm, you know, finding coaches. Horton asked, yeah, what was the website for hashtags? It's display purpose. Yep. Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah. And like I said, some of these hashtags are garbage that it gives you. I just realized my screen still says Doug Moss. I did the call with Carl the other day. It still says I'm Doug. I don't know why. But yeah, some of those hashtags are not great. So make sure you're going through them and not just using them without looking at who else is using them, and make sure that they fit who you are. Also, those big bloggers, sometimes I'll look at what hashtags they're using, because if they have, couple 100,000 followers, chances are they know what they're doing and they looked at hashtag research. So check them too.
And I love how you said update your hashtags. I think some of us fall into that. Okay, I've got these great hashtags, and then we use them for months at a time, and that's not going to work. So continue to update that.
Oh, tracking system. That's a good question. So I do not track people I follow because, like I said, they're two separate entities. If you're just trying to grow your Instagram, you don't need to track those people you're following because it's simply for growth. The people I track are the ones that I'm trying to recruit, and I have a Google Sheet for them. And what I do is I have a tab at the bottom that's for every month of the year, and I have their names and I put notes in the section. So it'll be like name of person, column, Instagram handle, column, date contacted, column, or date followed, and then notes about what transpired with that person and like what's going on with them. If they gave me a no or a no, not right now, I don't delete anybody because I want to make sure that I never go back to the same person again and ask them the same thing. So I highlight them in red just so I know if they are a no. If they're a not right now, yellow. And if they're strong potential, I put them in green. So some of my people will be like, I'm really interested. I want to do this. I need to save up some money. Can you check back with me end of November? And I have a few people like that this month. So they're in green, and I have in my notes, like, check back end of November for XYZ. But for me, Google Sheets has been the easiest because I can pull it up on my phone, and whatever computer I'm at, like, I can access it. And I just find that has been really helpful for me. I don't know if you touch on this, but how long do you comment, engage with someone before inviting them to coaching? I will tell you, it really depends on how the relationship is going. Sometimes, like, there's this one girl, I'm talking to her right now, and I started talking to her it was just last week. And our conversation has been so great. Like, I feel like we just hit it off. I'm going to invite her tomorrow because the group is on Friday. I'm just going to go for it. Some of them, I feel like the relationship hasn't progressed enough. And I feel like if I invite them now, we're not like ready. Rule of thumb, I say 2 weeks, but really feel it out with the person. You might hit 2 weeks and you still might not feel ready. As long as they're on your Google Sheet or whatever tracker you want to use, you can invite them whenever you want, as long as you know to keep checking and following back up with them. So rule of thumb, 2 weeks, but just depends.
All right. I think you covered everything so thoroughly, which I love. And I do think in the very, very beginning, when you said you need to know who you're talking to, like, we talk about that so much. Yeah. The color wheel, like avatar. If you don't know who you're talking to, if you think you're just talking to moms, it is not enough. Like, it's not enough, and it's too general. Your hashtags are going to be too general. You have to find your people. And we all say it. You hear the top coaches say it all the time, like, oh, I found my tribe. And we go to these retreats and we're like, oh my gosh, it's just like hanging out with my best friends. And that is because we all know who we're talking to. And every coach that joins us is a friend immediately. And so that is just, it's huge. And I hear so many people say, oh my gosh, like, I just see a million Beachbody coaches out there. Well, what are you searching? Are you searching fit mom? Because you're probably going to find a million Beachbody coaches under there. So who are you? What do you love? What are the little quirks? And yeah, what makes you the mom that you are? So thank you so much, Jen. This was amazing. There's so many great takeaways. I love how you broke down your time in here. Like, you spend an hour a day following 100 people, and then you spend an hour a day figuring out who those people are that could be your next potential coaches. You've got to spend time on this, I think, or in real time, right? Like you said, you can go through and spend an hour scrolling Instagram and not make any business progress, or you can spend 2 hours a day legitimately building a business on Instagram. So really ask yourself, what am I spending my time doing? And am I getting a return on my investment? Because your time is an investment. So just so many good takeaways in here. Thank you so much. And yeah, have a great day. I know you're super busy today. Kate Morgan just messaged me and was like, oh my gosh, Jen's also talking to us. So good luck today with your busy schedule.
Thank you guys for popping on.
Bye guys.